He has received Bhakti Shastri with high honor in 2003, and he also teaches Bhakti Shastri and Sanskrit, and he also coordinates Bhakti Vaibhav studies. And Prabhuji has completed his education in MS in Structural Engineering in 1976. So we are very grateful to have you on this call, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for giving your association. Hare Krishna. You can take over the call.
Okay, thank you, Mataji, for giving me an opportunity to get association of all your Vaishnavas on the telephone conference call. So today we'll discuss from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 33 and Text 14. So before that, I will recite some Mangalacharan verses, and then we will begin the discussion on the Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Ajnanatimiraandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutpadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavascha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padana Sagana Lalita Shri Visakhanvitanscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrisabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Namo Mahabadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namni Gauratu Se Namaha. Jayatam Suratho Pangor Mahamandamather Gati Matsarvasva Padambojo Radha Madan Mohano Divyada Vrindaranya Kalpadrumada Srimadaratna Garasinhasanatho Srimadharada Shila Govinda Devo Prestali Vishevyamano Smarami Sriman Rasarasarambi Konsirodaksasa Sari Gopinath Gopinath Srestunaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Krupa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namini Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Mataji, if I want to know how long we have to go for this session.
30 to 45 minutes, now 15 minutes for question answer. For 1 hour the whole class is.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay. So today, as I mentioned, we will discuss one of the verses from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 33, which is entitled Activities of Kapila, and today's verse is text 14. So I will recite the verse and translation and purport, and then we'll discuss about it. Abhikshana Abhikshana Vagaha Kapishan Jatilan Kutilalakan Atmanam Chaukratapasa Vidrati Chirinam Krusham. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanavinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. She began to bathe 3 times daily, and thus her curling black hair gradually became grey due to austerity. Her body gradually became thin, and she wore old garments. Purport. It is the practice of the yogi, brahmachari, vanprastha, and sannyasi to bathe at least 3 times daily. Early in the morning, during noontime, and in the evening. These principles are strictly followed even by some grahasthas, especially brahmanas, who are elevated in spiritual consciousness. Devhuti was a king's daughter and almost a king's wife also. Although Kardama Muni was not a king by his yogic mystic power, he accommodated Devhuti very comfortably in a nice palace with maidservants and all opulences. But since she had learned austerity even in the presence of her husband, there was no difficulty for her to be austere. Still, because her body underwent severe austerity after the departure of her husband and son, she became thin. To be too fat is not very good for spiritually advanced life. Rather, one should reduce, because if one becomes fat, it is an impediment to progress in spiritual understanding. One should be careful not to eat too much, sleep too much, or remain in a comfortable position. Voluntarily accepting some penances and difficulties, one should take less food and less sleep. These are the procedures for practicing any kind of yoga, whether bhakti yoga, jnana yoga, or hatha yoga. So, as you all regular listeners have heard the previous history of Mother Devhuti, Kapila, her son, is enlightening her in matter of Sankhya philosophy. So, particularly in the beginning of this chapter, Maitreya Muni is telling to Vidurji that Devhuti became freed from all ignorance concerning devotional service and transcendental knowledge. In other words, she became enlightened in devotional service and became fully Krishna conscious after hearing Sankhya philosophy from Kapil Muni, her son. So, as we know the previous history from the previous chapters, that after marrying Kardama Muni, and she was serving Kardama Muni very nicely, but at that time she did not develop any taste in devotional service. She took pleasure in serving her husband, and then at the end she realized, when Kardama Muni was about to leave, according to his promise that he made at the time of marriage, then she thought that I haven't taken full advantage of my husband's spiritual aspect of it. Like while Radha Muni was there, she should have taken and she should have realized, the human goal of life, and if she would have taken advantage, then it would have much better. That was her thing. She was lamenting for it that she was unable to take much of its spiritual understanding while she was having good time with Karma Muni. So anyway, after that, Kardama Muni gave her the son Kapila Muni, as also kind of ordained by the Lord, because Lord gave an audience to Kardama Muni, and all these histories been you have heard already. So what happened then after hearing this Sankhya philosophy? By understanding this Sankhya philosophy enunciated by Lord Kapila, one can easily get freedom from the clutches of material world. And that is the main purpose of, or main rather goal of human life, that we need to get free from this bandhan, from this material world clutches, in a way like birth, old age, disease and death. And if you do not get rid of those, or if you do not perform service in a way that you want to completely get out of this material world and going to the Vaikuntha or spiritual or higher and higher, it is the human goal is not fulfilled. So in that case, everyone should be in his capacity perform devotional service by associating with a saintly personality. So here we can see that Devahuti, at least at the end of his life, got association of her own son, who is none other than Lord Krishna, in a way that Lord Kapila is incarnation of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. And as we know from the Bhagavad Gita, that Lord incarnates in a particular form to fulfill particular mission according to time, place and circumstances. All the incarnations, as we see the history, either from Srimad Bhagavatam or some other Purana or from other one of our scriptures, that they do incarnate for a particular purpose to fulfill the mission during that time. So the various incarnations of the Lord appear in this material world with a very specific mission to accomplish. Their activities are completely extraordinary. No other human being can perform such activities. There are different categories of avatars also, which we will look into briefly, and then we come back to the Kapil Muni's episode here. There are Purusha avatar, for example, Karunadakshayi Vishnu, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and Kshirodakshayi Vishnu. These Purusha avatars basically creates, maintains, and annihilates the cosmic manifestation. So that is, everything is described in Srimad Bhagavatam like Canto 2 very nicely. So we will not go in too much detail, but just as Purusha avatars are three, then there are Guna avatar also. These are also three, as you all know, Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh. Lord Shiva. And those Guna Avatar has taken these in charge of like material modes of material nature, as you know, mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. So each one of them in charge of that, and they're also they play their role according to their prescribed duty that they have to perform. So Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh, like Vishnu maintains it, Brahma creates it, and Lord Shiva annihilates this material world. Then there are so many Leela avatars also, which includes like Matsya avatar, Kurma avatar, Vara avatar, Nrsimha avatar, Ram, so many of those Leela avatars in which Bhagavan has done so many pastimes. His only purpose is to bring these conditioned souls, closer to him. So that is why he performs these pastimes and attract the conditioned souls like us. So that is their purpose. Sometimes there are also empowered incarnations. So what happens, sometimes the Lord, instead of coming himself, he empowers a particular living entity with a specific potency and the transcendental power of attorney to execute a specific mission. So, in this case, Kapil Bhagwan is one of such empowered incarnation whose purpose is to preach the message of Godhead to people according to the time, place, and circumstances, to establish religious principles suitable for the period. As it is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita also, right? Paritranaya sadhunam vinasaya cha duskrutam dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. So the basic three purposes are mentioned in the Paritranaya sadhunam, to give, or to enlighten the devotees, to protect the devotees, and to annihilate the demons. And main thing is to re-establish actually. It's not to be established, re-establish. In a way that it was there, but it was sort of a, hidden for a certain period. So in that case, he re-establishes the lost religion. In other words, sometimes it happens that during the course of following these Vedic instructions, injunctions, from guru to disciple, and then again disciple becomes guru and guru to disciple, and in this succession. And sometimes it may not go. Even we can see our history of Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya also. Thereafter Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there were 6 Goswamis. They have written so many devotional literatures on the order of Sriman Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But then after some time, we can see that that thing is deviated or modified or not followed in a proper way and things like that. But when Bhaktivinoda Thakur, our predecessor Acharya, one of the predecessor Acharya Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he revived the whole system again. He is the one who had at least given us this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his pastimes and all. So from that point on, like slowly and steadily, now we can see that Prabhupada has exposed all this knowledge into English language. And as a result of that, so many people are taking advantage, regardless of caste, creed, regardless of their origin, where they're coming, which country they are from, doesn't make any difference, because Prabhupada has given us a pure bhakti in a way that what Prabhupada has given so far, nobody has given us. So we can appreciate that, but considering all these things, step by step, now we are at a point that there are so many literatures available, so many senior Vaishnavas are available, so many learned people in this Vedic science are there. So now we can take advantage of it and also try to understand what is Vedic science really is, and follow the principles of the Vedic science, and then try to make our spiritual life, very successful, and basically fulfilling the human goal of life in that sense, So, thus, Lord Kapil taught here, it's a Sankhya philosophy, but actually he spoke to his mother, but normally what happens when the Lord always uses his devotee or associates to re-establish the religious principle. So, Lord Kapila, through the medium of his mother, actually is teaching of all conditioned soul the Sankhya philosophy. The Sankhya philosophy is detailed analysis, but at the same time is not neglecting the importance of devotional service, as we have read from the previous chapters, that understanding that Kapil Bhagavan have given, is completely in accordance with the Vedic science. And if it is followed properly, then one can make spiritual advancement. So, just this is the normal system also, just like Krishna also uses Arjuna to preach this transcendental knowledge. And so many examples that you will find that, when Lord incarnates, when Lord comes and he wants to give some, so many pastimes also, they spread this Vedic knowledge through their associates or through their pure devotees. We have also learned from the previous chapter that devotees, all questions have been answered by Kapil Muni's explanation of Sankhya philosophy in detail. So, she understood that the Lord, her son, is the source of all, and that devotional service to him is both the means to attain him and the goal as well. So in this chapter, current chapter, text 33, text 2 to 8, she is offering her humble prayers to Lord Kapila, which you have already gone through. So Lord Kapila was very satisfied by the words of his mother. Basically, her mother glorifies Lord Kapila, and also reveals her understanding to Lord Kapila. And so after hearing her mother's words, he was very, very satisfied. And then he instructed that he instructed her to execute devotional service without any difficulty, and also blessed her that soon she will be liberated, even within her present body. That is a great benediction. When you get liberated in the same way, it is called Jivana Mukta position. Means, in other words, in the same body you get liberated. Jivana Mukta, they call it a technical language. And that is what Kapil Bhagavan blessed her mother for that. In other words, she will become transcendental, because all her senses will be engaged into the service of the Lord. So that's why it is called Jivana Mukta liberation condition. So now, at this point, Kapila Muni's responsibility toward his mother, is now complete. So after taking her permission, he leaves home. So now here we can see that we're coming to the point of today's verse where, and the previous one, where he says that Mother Devotee is alone in her husband's home and performing, she is completely detached, even though there's so much opulence is surrounding him, because her husband created very opulent place to live for her, So even though she was in midst of all these opulences, she became completely detached as a result of hearing this Sankhya philosophy from her son. So then she began to practice Bhakti Yoga as instructed by her son, and she was following all regulative principles very, very rigidly, as we can see from the previous verse and also this verse. Previous verse says that as instructed by her son, Devahuti also began to practice Bhakti Yoga in that very ashram. She practiced Samadhi in the house of Kardama Muni, which was so beautifully decorated with flowers that it was considered the flower crowns of the river Saraswati. And today's verse, where it is mentioned that she began to bathe 3 times daily, and thus her curling black hair gradually became grey due to austerity. Her body gradually became thin, and she wore old garments. So this verse explains that Mother Devahuti is following the regulative principles basically mentioned in the scripture, and as she performing that devotion very rigidly, her bodily condition is also described in this purport here. Prabhupada especially stresses on the point of sort of a eating, sleeping procedure. In Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna gives us a hint. In chapter 6 he says, Yukta ahar viharasya, Yukta chestasya karmasu, Yukta sapnavabodhasya, yogo bhavati dukha. Lord Krishna says that he who is regulated in his habits of eating, sleeping, recreation and work can mitigate all material pains by practicing the yoga system. So Prabhupada in detail describes here that to follow rules and regulations is required to get perfection in yoga, whatever yoga we might be performing. It would be Hatha Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, all these kind of things. And he warns here that extravagance in matter of eating, sleeping and defending and mating, which are the demands of the body, can block our advancement in practice of yoga. So that's why it is recommended in our society, ISKCON society, that you are only have to consume prasadam. So by consuming only prasadam, there won't be any problem, in a sense that food is the main thing, and whatever we eat, our thoughts. So ahar, vihar, vichar, that is really basic steps, to follow or to take up this spiritual life. Because if your ahar, vihar and vichar and everything is not at the point of like sattva gun or mode of goodness, because in the beginning we have to master this mode of goodness, and even after that we have to go beyond it, Suddha Sattva, which is called, pure goodness. And pure goodness only will come with pure association and keeping the pure hygienic conditions of our day-to-day life, which is actually eating, sleeping. Also, it is mentioned here that too much sleep is also not good, and too much eating is also not good as well. But so basically, atyahar, in a sense that anything you do more than required by the body is actually detrimental to the body, So Rupa Goswami, who was always engaged in the service of Krishna, who could not sleep more than 2 hours a day. Like Haridas Thakur also, he has a vow to chant certain rounds, and without finishing, he will not even sleep or eat. So these are like extreme examples, but even then, there are so many examples in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam, which we can realize that just because following these regulative principles, even simple regulative principles, eating and keeping up with our hygienic conditions, which is mentioned here like 3 times, taking a bath doing 3 times. See that it's kind of an external purification, but it also gives you internal sort of a suddhi also, because after bath you always feel free, fresh, and then when you take it 3 times means you are always regenerated with newer and newer things, so you would like to do some more and more service, and that is basically in Krishna conscious practice Prabhupada has recommended, especially there are so many grahasthas following the same thing, even Brahmanas, they follow this procedure also. The only purpose is to keep the body also clean, because when we serve Lord, the cleanliness is, like it says, next to godliness. So it is very essential that we have to be clean inside as well as outside. External cleaning is required, but the internal cleaning is more sort of we have to pay attention. In other words, in the heart, sort of, we have to remove the dirt from the heart. Cheto Darpana Mahajanambhava Mahadava. So like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us, we have to, how do we clean this heart? By chanting the holy name. Because the holy name is so pure, and if you chant without offenses, then it will clean your heart, because the name and the Nami means, the Krishna and Krishna's name, they are non-different. And especially our Acharya has mentioned that the vibration, holy vibration of the holy name directly comes from the spiritual world. So it has an effect. And we can see that our base of, our origin of our movement is from chanting. The Srila Prabhupada has started chanting in Pumpkin Park in New York. So that is our main thing. So example is when a yogi, practice of yoga, basically what it does is it disciplines his mental activities and becomes situated in transcendence, devoid of all material desires. That is what is happening. We can see some examples of, for example, when you perfect all this kind of thing, with the perfect yogi is so well disciplined in the activities of the mind that he can no longer be disturbed by any kind of material desire. And this perfectional stage can automatically be attained by persons in Krishna consciousness. Now, how we get that? There's an example in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, about the Ambrish Maharaj, where it says, Savai Manaha Krishna Padaravindayor, Pachase Vaikuntha Gunanu Varanane, Karau Harer Mandir Marjanadis, Srutim Chakara Chat Kathodaye. In other words, there are other verses, but King Ambrish, first of all, engage his mind on the lotus feet of the Lord Krishna. Then, one after another, he engaged his words in describing these transcendental qualities of Lord. His hands were engaged in cleaning the temple of the Lord. His ears were engaged in hearing the activities of the Lord. Eyes were engaged in seeing the transcendental form of the Lord. His body in touching the bodies of the devotees. His sense of smell in smelling the sense of the lotus flowers offered to the Lord. His tongue is tasting tulsi leaf and the Krishna prasad. His legs going to the places of pilgrimage and the temple of the Lord. His head in offering obeisances unto the Lord, and his desire in executing the mission of the Lord. All these transcendental activities are quite befitting a pure devotee. So similarly, here also devotee Mataji, following all these principles, and I'm giving an example of Amrish Maharaj, but like so many other, this transcendental stage, it may be inexpressible subjectively by the followers of the impersonalist path, but it becomes very easy and practical for a person in Krishna consciousness. That is what we have to keep in mind, that for a personalist, these services are not mundane. Now, impersonalists have a different aspect, and they may not realize or understand the efficacy of, following these principles. But without following this kind of principle, you cannot virtually success in advancement in spiritual life. As we can see, it is apparent in the engagement of Maharaj Ambrish, unless the mind is fixed on the lotus feet of the Lord by constant remembrance, such transcendental engagements are not practical. In the devotional service of the Lord, therefore, these prescribed activities are called archan, or engaging all senses in the service of the Lord. The senses and the mind require engagement. Simple abnegation is not practical. Therefore, for people in general, especially those who are not in renounced order of life, transcendental engagement of the senses and mind, as described here in the process of regulative principles, is very, very important, And that's why our Rupa Goswami has given us the process, said, Yukta Vairagya, So, Vairagya means that you have to should not use certain things like that. But Yukta Vairagya means you use the material things, but in the service of Krishna, with the motivation that you want to use that thing in Krishna's service, and also you want to purify yourself in that condition. So another thing is also emphasized that in Nectar of Instruction, Rupa Goswami mentions there is a verse which is also very nice regarding that. Here, following the regulative principles, that verse would be, says, Atyahara prayasascha prajalpo niyamagraha janasangascha laulyascha sadbir bhakti vinashyati. In other words, what he's trying to say that Atiyahar means, actually human life is meant for plain living and high thinking, proper rights and the purport, And so if that is the goal of human life, plain living and high thinking, basically we have to follow this, because what is happening is that these 6 items mentioned in this verse, Prabhupada says, once devotional service is spoiled, when he becomes too entangled in the following 6 activities. One of them is eating more than necessary or collecting more funds than required. So basically it is not eating more but also collecting more. Is also Atyahara means, Atyahara is not only related to food, but Atyahara related to all senses. For example, for eyes also, if it is too much for eye to see, or if you see which is not to be seen, which is not congenial for spiritual advancement, so that is also, we have to consider that thing. Similarly, all the senses, they have a sense object, and their objective is to enjoy. The eyes wants to enjoy by seeing something, ear wants to enjoy by hearing something, nose wants to enjoy by smelling something, tongue wants to enjoy by tasting something. So all these senses have a sense object, they want to enjoy with it. But the thing is, when you do extravagance in this one, if it is ati ahar, means so not only ati ahar means food, but any senses enjoying more than is required, then also it is detrimental for the growth of spiritual life. Similarly, some other aspects I mentioned here about these over-endeavoring for mundane things that are very difficult to obtain. Sometimes you have a tendency that, no, I want to get something, and then you endeavor so much for it. And sometimes you may get it, sometimes you may not get it. But over-endeavoring is completely, it is mentioned here that if we do that thing, over-endeavoring, then it will not be a real, give us a benefit. And the other thing is that talking unnecessary things. That is also like atyahar. When we talk anything besides Krishna, that is called like unnecessary talking. And then practicing scriptural rules for the sake of performing only, that is also not good. And sometimes becoming too rigid. So aha, pratyaha, it is like a niyam, agraha and agraha. There is two different meanings for that. So one is like that you sometimes keep it rigid. So to be too rigid is not also good, and at the same time, practicing scriptural rules only for the sake of performing is also not good. And then associating with the worldly mind is not so good, and also being greedy for mundane achievement. So these are the things which are mentioned here briefly. I'm just want to. And the other point is I want to mention here about, especially writes in the purport about the brahmachari, vanprastha, all these things. So that basically talk about the vanprastha, varnashram system. Now, varnashram system, why varnashram system is so important? So Srila Prabhupada explained to devotees that varnashram dharma is the only system of social organization which enables a person of any class to discharge his occupational duty as a form of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, thus fulfilling the ultimate goal of life. In Bhagavad Gita he says, right, Chaturvarna maya srustam guna karma vibhagasa. So this varnashram system is not something mundane. Actually, in the present day society we have a jati dharma, but that is not anything Vedic like that, So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita chapter 4, right, Chaturvarna maya srustam guna karma vibhagasa. So it is created by Lord himself. And how, why? What is the base? Gun and karma. The quality of the work, and also the work is performed, and according to the quality that he possesses, those varna and asa, which is like for social order and for spiritual order. As you know, social orders are like we can see starting from brahmachari, grahastha, vanprastha, those are the spiritual order. But then the social order are like Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. So these are like natural, as we can see, according to the three modes of material nature and the work associated with them, the four divisions of human society are created by me, Lord says. And although I am the creator of this system, you should know that I am yet the non-doer, being unchangeable. So human society is similar to any other animal society, but to elevate man from the animal status, the above mentioned divisions, which means these varna, ashram, dharma, which are created by the Lord, they are very, very important in development of Krishna consciousness. And this varna ashram system is the stepping stone for advancing in spiritual life. So anyway, I will stop here and take any questions, comments, or any of realization or reflections in your comments regarding the subject matter of today's verse. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you so much for the beautiful class, Prabhuji. I have one question, Prabhuji. What is the English meaning for vihar and vichar?
What is the question?
Vihar and vichar. What is the meaning, Prabhuji? Ahar, I understood. Vihar.
Yeah, ahar. Vihar means your day-to-day, like, the recreational activities. In a way, the way you live your life. That is vihar.
Okay, Prabhuji. Vichar?
It's kind of a recreational activity that you do is called vihar. Or any activity that you do, like you're going out, all these things is considered under vihar. Vihar means our daily activity in a way that not our prescribed duty, but anything we do to kind of get relief of our mind, please our mind, go here and there, that kind of vihar.
Okay, Prabhuji, like habit.
Yes.
Okay.
The Prabhupada translate vihar as recreational activities.
Okay, Prabhuji. What is vichar, Prabhuji?
Vichar is our thoughts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. I request if anyone has any questions, please ask Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandot Pranam, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Guru Maharaj ki Jai. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Very, very wonderful nectarian class, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, in this verse, it's like Jatila and Kutila is mentioned, but it's mentioned about the hairs of Deva Kuti. So, in Radharani's mother-in-law and sister-in-law, their names are
it seems similar, but here the Jatilan word is called matted. It's a hair. It's a description of the hair, and Kutilan means Kutilan. So there's a two word in that. It's a sandhi there. Kutila and Alakan. Alakan means hair, and Kutila means curled hair. So that's what the meaning of here Kutilan is. It sounds like Kutila Jatila. Yeah, it's a really one word. Because it's not only Jatila and Kutila, it's Jatilan. The word is Jatilan. And Kutilan, Kutila Alakan. There's a two word. Kutilal, there is two. Kutil which means curled, and Alakan which means hairs. And it's not Jatila, it is Jatilan. Means matted hair. Yeah. Okay.
Also, Prabhuji, they said you have to take bath 3 times a day.
Yes.
So it's like, in this cold weather, and it's not possible to take bath 3 times a day, Prabhuji.
Yeah, I mean, it might be, it's just because of we are not habituated with it. Those are habituated, it is nothing actually. And especially if you want to serve deities, then it is mandatory for sure. But if you are not, at least Grahastha say, if not 2 times, they should take a bath, I mean, in summer it's easy to take 3 times, but in winter they can make it 2 times, The idea is that you want to keep externally clean yourself, one way or the other. And also, for example, people sometimes who go work outside, so in that sense also it is required. It depends on everybody's prescribed duty is different, Mataji. So if you are not doing much, any labor, physical hard work, then, it is okay in a sense that, as long as you are clean, it's okay. But, your consciousness should be such that, I should remain clean externally also, So, And if you endeavor for it, then it will become natural habit. Once it becomes habit, then you will not feel it. But yeah, we are normally not accustomed to, most of us, including me, I will tell you. We are not accustomed to the thing, but we try to do it, the idea is to keep yourself externally clean, Because, we have our own experience, right? After taking bath, how much fresh we are feeling, I mean, it's a miracle, then the water is a miracle substance, Sometimes if you are thirsty, if you drink, then you feel satisfied, If you take a shower, a bath, then you get satisfied, get rejuvenated, looks like, that's fine. So, especially when you mentally tired, looks like mentally tired, you should definitely take a bath,
Yeah. So, Prabhuji, one more question. Like, Mother Devahuti, her husband left home and her son left home and she was alone at home. So, in this old age, when the parents are very old, we have to take care of them. So, how she was taking care of herself, she was alone. She has to, do the sadhana and take care of the house and herself and everything. So practically it's not possible, Prabhuji. Parents, they are depend on their children, and sometimes children don't take care of their parents, so they have to go to like old homes or something like that.
Yes, Mataji. Yes, Mataji, you're very right. I mean, our natural Vedic system is like when the girls are young, they are under the care of their father, mother, parents, and when they become, at the right age and we get them married, they are under the shelter of their husband, and especially at the old age, the son, she was under the shelter of self. And that is what had happened exactly in the life of Devahuti. You can see that. She was so fortunate girl, she was daughter of Manu Maharaj, who has taken care of her nicely and got her married, finding a right personality. And then Kardama Muni was also a right husband for her. And so the whole story is explained in that previous thing. And then at the end, she got a son. But now at the end, your question is now that husband left and son left, and she's alone. Yeah, but you have to see the condition of her at this stage. She is already, because her son blessed her, because she realized, I read that thing, right? What did she realize? She realized that her son is the supreme personality of Godhead. His son is not like her, biological son. It's just like she says that he is the supreme personality of Godhead. And the devotional service to him is all in all, which is the sadhya, sadhan, for the sadhakas, that is the goal. So she understood the process, and that is why she don't need at this point either husband or son. Because what she needs to understand, she understood. She was realized soul. She became realized after because she heard the Sankhya philosophy from her son. And when one becomes realized, then it's totally, she is on a different platform. If she would not have been that platform, then what you're saying is correct, that she needs somebody, But when you are at a certain point, the platform changes completely. She is on a completely realized stage, Jivan Mukta stage almost, you can say.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes, Prabhuji. And also, can you speak a little bit about the Jivan Mukta stage? Means, can we reach up to that?
Yes. The definition of Jivan Mukta is basically you are liberated in your present body. And in the way to understand is like I mentioned that example of Ambarish Maharaj. When all your senses are completely engaged in the service of Krishna 24/7, you know, so your senses are no more material. And that is also, sometimes we say that, you know, spiritual master's body is not material, because those who are engaged in the service of Krishna 24 hours, you know, I mean, there are thoughts, thinking, nothing else. That position is called Jivana Mukta, means liberated condition. Liberate means what? You have to liberate from the material world, in a sense that materialistic way of living life, which you are liberated from. So basically that happens when you are not, means you are not doing anything for the enjoyment of your senses. Everything is you thinking of Krishna's senses, and everything serving Krishna's needs, you know. So that stage, when you get it, is called Jivana Mukta.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Anybody else? Okay, Mataji, so we can end the session here. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. That was very, very wonderful class. And we look forward to come back again to give more classes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Very nice class and very nicely explained. The answers are also very nice. Thank you.